Hello and welcome to Cadiz. This is Dresden's Tale, episode 34. This is a show where we follow the adventures of Dresden Fane as he battles his way from holiday to holiday, consuming every bit of edible content he can find. He's got a taste for sticky buns, beef, and he will eat his vegetables. Dwarves are not picky eaters, and this warrior of the Stone Clan is no exception. I'm your guide in this journey, Lewis Nichols, and we've got a lot of ground to cover, but plenty of time to do it. You see, Dresden is two different projects. The story that you see is the tale, neatened up and packaged for your consumption. But there's another project, Future Dresden. I've been working on chronicling this hero's life for a pretty good portion of my own. We have no lack of material, it's just a matter of developing it for my adoring public. Now, did you ever notice there's a whole lot of holidays in Dresden's world? How do you think that works? A few things you should know. No, serious, you should know all this stuff by now. Come on, do your homework. Dresden's world is a land of plenty. There's no lack of property, food, or opportunity. On the home front, that's a problem. Building up a pressure for complacency on a warrior culture. Strategically, it's a problem. The planar cluster is vast, and there will be winners and losers in the fight to dominate it. However, if you like your 3-day weekends, all this abundance is a plus. There are 26 high holy days, largely piled up into the 3 lang vekas of the year. These are universal across Celt culture, but not necessarily unchangeable. The holidays don't stop there. Different clans have different traditions. Most celebrate Prophecy Day, Heroes Day, Declaration Day, and Fertility Day, but not always on the same day. There are other holidays too, some local. I even heard about a mayor out in Oster that makes his whole town celebrate his wedding anniversary every single year. Well, a day off is a day off, but the Celts are also a pragmatic people. If there's work to be done or fighting to be fought, they will get to it, holiday or not. Today, still Foth 7th, is Declaration Day, and we find Dresden tired from a night of fighting, but you can sleep later. There are buffets to be raided. The holiday, though a minor one in the grand scheme of things, allowed Dresden no time for bed. To some, Declaration Day was a romantic holiday, as every year a number of couples used the day to get married. To others, it was about an assertion of power. The mantra, "I am so-and-so, and I will not be defeated," was a common boast. Just beyond shouting random claims, new masters often declared the formation of houses. A growing trend saw guild and gang leaders being forced to defend their titles on the holiday. If you wanted it, it was a good day to try and get it. Frote and Nicodamon hauled their mutual treasure hoard to the city executors, leaving the rest of the team time to wander. Dresden did his best to make for the barracks, but was distracted by the smell of the morning's first cook fires. "I could eat," Leith announced, and pulled Dresden toward the smell. For an hour, she showed him enough attention to make him reconsider her motives yet again. He was utterly confused, but couldn't figure out a way to ask about it. Maybe they were just becoming friends. But in the Stone Clan, friends often kissed, and a far cry more. He shifted towards her, but was pushed back as Garum forced his way between them and demanded a full accounting of their night. "They just needed me to fill an open space." He stole a piece of pork off of Garum's wooden plate. "I said I was sorry." "What the hells?" Garum was startled by her scream, then noticed Dresden laughing. "What's wrong with you two?" It wasn't long before her whole team was reassembled, along with Haspern and a few of the dock workers. Now that there was a crowd, Dresden tried to slip off once again, but Colleen stopped him. She questioned him over his training and summer's adventures. He told her all about Odessa and the Jungo he had met. For a time, he He thought she was flirting. But suddenly, an hour had passed, and she was just talking about her frolics with Froat and how he was the only one who could truly satisfy her. After lunch, Froat gave him a shield. It had been nothing but a buckler for the Minotaur's purposes, but used by Dresden, it protected a full quarter of his body. For some reason, the veteran thought he needed to show Dresden how to use it. Not wanting to look contrary in front of Leith's friend, he suffered through it. The day kept dragging by, until finally, 2 hours after dinner, the food ran out, and Dresden thought for certain he was free. 2 steps towards the barracks, Leith and Colleen ambushed him. "Treasure's back," Leith told him. Dragging him back to her quarters, he found Froat and Edvin waiting around a table full of goods. Colleen didn't give him a chance to get excited about it, though. She hustled him up onto a second table. "I'm surprised you don't have more art," she began, repeatedly jabbing a needle into Dresden's arm. "When I noticed you didn't have an Odessa tat, I looked up the mark. People should know where you've been." Wincing, he managed not to complain about the torture. "I've been thinking about getting it for a while. I just didn't want something shoddy." "Well, you're screwed now," Edvin laughed. The pain kept his mind off how tired he was, but now he needed something to distract him from the pain. So you're a PM. Did something happen?" "Most of the team is in Parncilia for the winter," Froat answered. "Leith needed to put in some time with the old work gang to maintain status, so here we are. Besides, the city is too political for some of us these days. Your girl there is past due for a promotion, but..." "That's enough, Colleen," Leith stopped her. "Don't fuck with his head. No one is conspiring against me." Dresden didn't pursue the strange comment. Okay, so what about Nick? If he's not a warlock, what is he?" "A Theurgist," Edvin explained. "No shit. I didn't think any of the churches allowed it. I thought they were all partisans or bandits or something." Leith looked up from the note-strewn table where she worked to split up their take. "Exactly how is a bandit going to get Ziblich training?" He would have blushed, but instead he just grunted. I don't know." "He's Church of Tothus," Edvin stated. Dresden was tired of being talked to like some convert fresh from the camps. "I know he's a priest of Tothus. Kind of obvious." "Grumpy-ass dwarf," the Tigrar growled. Colleen grinned at the banter. "Nick's our language specialist. A few years ago, we brought him in to translate an old script we found." "Now we can't get rid of him," Froat laughed. "He's shit in a fight, kind of like you, but at least you have some promise. He'll always be a fluffball. A fluffball that makes us money." "I thought you were the sage," Dresden asked the Minotaur. "I was before that shit came in and stole my game. Now all there's left to do is beat stuff to death." Colleen was laughing. "Certainly not a sore spot, though. He takes it with all the grace and modesty of his species." I'm done," Leith announced, quieting Froat's response and drawing everyone's attention to the table. "Don't be pissed off. It's not much." Froat grabbed his bag from the executor and looked over the writ she'd given him for the rest. "Well, fuck it. It's more than a few nights at the bar." Colleen patted Dresden on the chest, got up, and took her own bag. "Good job, little warlock. You're all finished. Find me in a few days and I'll cut you something for Cadiz." Dresden inspected his Odessa tour tattoo, wondering what would keep just anybody from getting the same thing, whether they'd been to the plane or not. Leith handed him a bag and a tube of hollowed bone. "Hey, this is probably a lot for you." "This is all silver," Dresden choked. "What am I going to do with all this?" He opened the tube and looked at the writs issued on the dock gang's authority. "They're writs, silly." Dresden was again instantly embarrassed. "I know that," he snapped at her. Altogether, Dresden had roughly 200 silver bits, most of it on paper. "All the gems and weapons we recovered will go to the guild storerooms, and we get this instead. Have a good time with it while you can. No one will give you full value off the island, and you know how people feel about silver. Oh, Of course, he looked up and realized she'd moved close. Very close. So, what are you going to do with it? The rest of them will just spend it on ale and wine, but I hardly ever see you drinking. He sat up on the edge of the table where Colleen had worked him over. It put the two looking at each other, eye to eye. I don't know. I once had 7 iron and couldn't even figure that out. She put a hand on his leg. Clothes? Some quality equipment, maybe? He tried not to wiggle, not to shy away. She was inches from him, wearing a gentle, curious smile. Yeah, I need clothes, maybe boots and a cloak. Oh yeah, a cloak? Fancy. I'm not fancy. I guess that's silly. She edged even nearer. I think you'd look good in a cloak. Flax or wool? Dresden was having trouble breathing. Wool would be more functional. You're very pragmatic, she told him. He could smell her. And in a good way, flowery and clean. Dresden looked left and right. Yeah, we're alone. Everyone is out for a night, enjoying the holiday. Just like us. I figured out something. When you're always grumpy and fussy, it's just a dwarven thing. It's not because you don't like me. It's that bluntness that really makes you sexy. She moved in and kissed him. She supported her weight with a hand against his chest and sucked his tongue with her warm amphibian lips. Like you. I didn't think you liked me. She had stepped back a few inches to pull off her top. Her equipment belts clattered to the floor. Dresden's mind was spinning. Papa would not approve of frolicking with Arana Yin. What makes you think I like you? Leith leaned into him, kissing him, rubbing his body against hers. Her hand tinkered with his belt. I just need you to fill an empty space. What? What was that? Well, what do you know? Dresden finally got the girl, and we all know the hardest ones to get are the best ones to keep. On behalf of Little Grump, thank you all very much for joining us on this quest for love and happiness. Well, as happy as Fussy Pants can be. It's time for crowd participation. After you leave a like, hop down in the comments and let me know what you think about what the future has in store for our adventuring duo. Will they take on a larger family? Will they find some strange magic to propagate an amphibian race of dwarves? It's fantasy. Nothing is off the table. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to check out my horror and sci-fi on Amazon. Google me if you dare. But most of all, come on, say it together, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day.